I'm going to tell you about the 5 words that helped me shift my life from the streets of Compton to a life of quantum and bliss. I'm David Dream, founder of the Connection Cube. And right now we are in a connection crisis. I found this out whenever I got off the train to Los Angeles and my mind was completely blown. I mean, I'm the son of a coach. I was the captain of the basketball team. I've always been a connector. So whenever I got off the train and I found out that it was really almost impossible to connect with anyone, I mean, I just really blew my mind, and that is just a hugely negative experience for somebody who's a super connector and a connection junkie like we are. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, I tried connecting with men, women, black, white, Hispanic, and it was just always the same result. It was like people were looking at me as if I was trying to harm them or if I was taking away something from them. And I just realized how much of a crisis we are in right now. If the most determinant factor of our happiness is the strength of our interpersonal relationships, then we are headed down a dark path. So I knew I had to do immediately something about it. And I just always felt like I was inconveniencing people. So there was one time whenever I hit my absolute low. And this was just, I was kind of a time whenever I was watching some videos with pickup artists and all these kind of things, trying to learn how to attract and these kinds of things. And so I was feeling kind of buzzy, and I walked out and I was going to talk to this person. And before I even got up to them, they immediately started acting like I was like this crazy person. They started like freaking out and saying, "Oh no, please don't do this." Blah, blah, blah. I mean, it was the wildest thing. And it just, at that point, I was like, there is just no chance. Like, we don't have any shot. We are just going to be a connectionless society forever. But then it happened. That one thing. And you hear this so many times. It's like, I met a woman, right? I met a girl. And we went on this amazing experience where we were living in the jungles outside of Tulum, Mexico for like 4 months. And we were living with some of the top sacred sexuality and authentic relating, theater directors, that kind of piece. Some of the top people in the world, tantra teachers. And it just really helped me to get in touch with myself. And I was able to see the ways that society teaches us the wrong ways to connect and how it infuses this cancer within us and just really keeps us separate, and it makes us to not be able to trust ourselves, and therefore we aren't able to trust each other. But I got completely immersed in the project, and I absorbed everything that I could, and I found out that I was a natural. I found out my superpower is connecting and helping other people connect with people. And so whenever I got back from this experience, it was just night and day. I mean, my whole life, my whole experience of the world around me had changed. The way that everybody looked at me was completely different. The way that everyone felt towards me was just completely shifted. People and old lovers from the past were coming back into my life, and they're like, there's just something about the way you feel, right? You just feel so trustworthy. I've never been listened to the way that you're listening to. The way that you're connecting with me is completely foreign, and I want more of it. And it was just like opportunities kept flowing into me, and people and the places and things that I've always wanted, but there was like that glass ceiling or glass wall between. Those all just started to just fade away. And it was like this whole other world just opened up to me, and my life was just unrecognizably better than it was before. Life started to get really fun. And so learning that my superpower was connecting with people and helping other people connect with other people, and that in concert with the fact that the major determinant for our happiness on this earth is the strength and number of our interpersonal relationships, I knew exactly how I was going to utilize my superpower and my gift to help expand the world and consciousness on this planet. And as soon as I got back from there, it was just really amazing. Like everything, all the opportunities started coming in, and I signed my first millionaire client. And it was really amazing. When he came to me, he was just miserable. Like even though he had more money than he really knew what to do with, he was just miserable because he was a slave to his desires, and he had been programmed to think that he was wrong for wanting these things, and he just wanted to be able to shift through this so that he could have a normal and healthy relationship. And I know whenever he came to me, he was very much thinking that I was going to help him with things so that he could shift his desires and get rid of these desires and have new ones and healthier ones. But instead, what I was able to do is I was able to use my extensive experience with alternative relationship styles and different ways to love and be with each other. I was able to use all of this knowledge whenever I've been exposed to people from vastly different demographics and vastly different upbringings and different cultures. Whenever I moved from the streets of Compton to a mansion in Overland Park, Kansas, within a couple of few weeks, I was able to see that there's a lot of different ways that we all like to live in love and express. And what I was able to help him find out is that it's all valid. Now, we might need to shift into the inside out method, a method that I teach, and so that we're able to access and go after our desires in a healthy way. But whenever we apply the inside out method, you are absolutely supposed to go after your desires. If you have that desire, not only is it you in your ability to go after it, but it's your moral responsibility to attain that. And so when I was able to help him make that shift and help him to understand that his desires were valid and that it was okay to go after them and living this life is absolutely perfect, he was able to make that shift, and he did it with flying colors. I mean, now his life is just unrecognizable. He's living in a different kind of relationship style, but still keeping true to the things that he believes and his morals. And he has many people that love him, and he's just terrorizing the highways in the South all over the place right now. He's recommitted his relationship to his son, and that's really, I mean, his whole life is just completely unrecognizable. And it's just, I realized that helping people make that shift, like, that's what fills me up. That's what makes me who I am. That's what I'm here on the planet to do. Ultimately, with the goal of creating a society that works for us all, full of support and tolerance and love. That is the world that waits for us. I know, I've seen it. And we can create that world by making a shift in our society, but it starts from the inside. That's what the inside out method is all about. It's starting about creating the wholeness and the fulfillment and the bliss and the love within you so that you can then share that with the people around you, and you can instill that feeling in them too and create that bond. And then you can take that energy and just bring it to the world so that you can really step into your purpose and your place within your community. So looking back on my journey to Compton, whenever I was traveling there and I heard these words, they could see that I was there expressing a little bit differently. I'd come from somewhere else. And so I heard the words, you got to be hard. You have to be hard here. And I took that to heart. I was just really, those words were just running around in my brain just so much. I was thinking, I got to be this way. I have to be that way. And it took this experience, it took this life altering experience so that I can realize that it's not that you have to be hard, it's that you have to be authentic. And you'll know whenever you're being authentic. I know we think that we're being authentic because a lot of times we're just regurgitating, we're responding to what we think is really going on within us. But we have to understand that a lot of these stuff is just stuff that's been instilled in us from a long time ago, since before we were 7 years old, by our society, by our parents who meant well, but they instilled these principles and these things in us that aren't truly us. And whenever we're able to unlearn those things and really get back into who we are, then we're able to express that authentic, attractive self. And whenever we are in connection with ourselves like that, the energy is absolutely palpable. People can see that, people know that, and they feel it, and they are attracted to you. And they will come up and tell you, I get it all the time. People come up to me and they're just like, what, I can really feel you. I feel your energy from across the room. I haven't said anything, but they just know, they feel that connectedness to myself. And so using the inside out method, that's how I help people to be able to determine that true, authentic, attractive self. And you'll know it because you can start trying to figure out right now, because that authenticity, it hurts at the beginning. It's almost like a sore muscle that you're massaging. You feel that pain, but it feels good because you realize that there's strength. You're building muscle and you're expanding. Same thing with authenticity, right? We are getting more in touch with ourselves, and that's going to help us to grow and expand and learn and love and all of this even more and deeper than we ever have before. But first, breaking those old paradigms, right? And realizing that that's not you, and letting go of stuff. Even if it's something that it's good to let go of, it's still like a lost feeling, and that hurts at the beginning. Then after a while, it starts to feel good. And before too long, you're addicted. And you can't do anything else but to show up authentic. And it's almost like it's like a drug. You can't wait for the opportunity to come up so that you can show your true, real self and see how it flies in the face of everything that you've been taught and that you've learned in those first formative years. And I encourage you that if there's anywhere in your life right now where you're not feeling bliss, if there's anywhere in your life that feels off, go deep into it and see where you're not being authentic. See where you're showing up as someone else. See where you're expressing someone else's principles and desires for you. And whenever you start to make that shift, you shift into authenticity, your life will automatically start shifting into bliss. And that's where life gets fun. I'm David Dream with Connection Cube, people helping people. That's what I've got for you. Hope you got something out of this. Reach into your authenticity. And remember, bliss is your birthright. Zoom out.